In this video, we're going to look at topic 37, example 1, factor out a common factor. So we're looking at something in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. So previous section, a was always equal to 1. In this section, a is going to be anything but 1. All right, so that'll be the difference from the previous section to this one. So in this problem, what is the factored form of 3x cubed plus 15x squared minus 18x? Notice that our a value is a 3. Okay, so what we're going to do is they're telling us about a common factor, so we're going to look for a GCF, and the GCF between 3, 15, and 18 is going to be a 3. And then notice that they all have an x, so I can factor out an x as well. All right, so I'm going to divide each term by 3x. So that's my GCF, that's what I'm factoring out. So 3x cubed divided by 3x would be x squared. 15 divided by 3 would be 5. X squared divided by x is just x. And then negative 18 divided by 3 would be negative 6, and the x's cancel out. Remember that if you were to distribute this 3x back in, you would get back to the original. Okay, we're not going to check that, we're just going to continue. So now from here, we've factored out the common factor, but we do want to check to see if the remaining trinomial, or the trinomial inside the parentheses, is factorable. So we're going to use our factor sum chart, and I'm going to look for factors of negative 6 that have a sum of positive 5. So factors of negative 6 that have a sum of 5. And then let's just remember that our GCF was 3x. So that is our GCF. Okay, so factors of 6 are 1 and 6, 2 and 3. Remember, this is one of those cases where we need to be careful with our signs. We want to multiply to get a negative 6. So one of our factors have to going to be negative. Let's try making the 1 negative. And let's just say the 2. It doesn't really matter. If we take the sum of negative 1 and 6, we do get a positive 5. So these would be our factors. So that trinomial can be factored more or again. So we would get the product of two binomials. And those binomials are going to be x minus 1 and x plus 6. So this would be my fully factored form. Notice that the GCF still comes down on the outside. Don't forget about that. If you wanted to check this, I'm not going to check this specific example, but you could multiply everything back together. Let's say the two binomials. If you multiply those, so this binomial times this binomial, you'll get this trinomial. And then if you were to multiply that by the GCF, like we said, distribute that, you'll get back to the original problem. Okay, so let's get rid of all those markings so we don't get confused. And there you go. So anytime you have something in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, do yourself a huge favor and always check for a GCF. All right, you want to make the numbers smaller if possible. That way, factoring using either the factor sum method or the AC method, which we're going to get to in the next video, will be significantly easier with smaller numbers. You have less factor pairs, and it's just, honestly, it's much, much easier to figure out. So check for a common factor first, and then continue from there.